When new, it wasn't outstanding. When used, it's a valued model. It has decent engines, though not all of them, performs well even after higher mileage, and isn't expensive either. The Megane's design is no different from the most basic compacts on the market. The suspension is McPherson struts at the front and a classic torsion beam at the rear. The front wishbones are fully rebuilt. The ball joints and bushings can be replaced. The rear wheels feature a typical French design, integrated brake discs with bearings. The steering is hydraulically assisted. The car didn't have adaptive suspension or rear axle steering like its successor, let alone four-wheel drive. However, it's worth noting that the GT variant has a completely different suspension setup, and some parts, such as shock absorbers and springs, must be selected based on the VIN. Ideally, these should be original equipment if you want to maintain factory characteristics. Alternatively, you can also consider high-quality tuning parts. Engines. As I mentioned, the Megane's engine lineup is enormous, but of course not all were offered at the same time. In this respect, cars can be divided into those produced roughly up to 2012, 2013, and later. The same applies to diesel engines, though this division isn't as significant. All meet the Euro 5 standard, and only one was without a DPF, although it was available at an additional cost. However, cars registered after September 2015 should have the Euro 6 standard registered. The most significant changes over the years have been the debut of two engines. In 2012, the first facelift saw the debut of the 1.2 TCE petrol engine with direct injection. It, too, gradually replaced the naturally aspirated 1.6. In addition to these engines, the less popular 1.4 TCE until 2013, the naturally aspirated 2.0 with CVT only, and several 2.0 TCE versions powering various sporty and performance-oriented variants were also offered. These were the main reasons for the large number of engines used in the Megane, but more on that in the next chapter. The diesel range now includes a 1.6 DCI, replacing the 1.9 DCI offered until 2012. Furthermore, under the hood, you'll find a 1.5 DCI and the highly regarded 2.0 DCI diesel engine. The engines were paired with manual gearboxes. Except for the 1.6 16 volts with 101 horsepower and the less powerful 1.5 DCI diesels, these were 6-speed gearboxes. 5-speed gearboxes were offered only in the early, lower-powered versions. Automatic transmissions include the CVT, which found its way under the hood of the Megane with the naturally aspirated 2.0 engine, and the DCT dual-clutch transmission, which was fitted to the 130 horsepower 1.2 TCE and 1.5 DCI variants. Classic automatics, found in larger Renault models and others, perform well. More on transmissions can be found in the section on faults. Which petrol engine should you choose? Those looking to buy a car for driving and not worry about anything too much should focus on the most popular 1.6 16 volts petrol engine designated K4M. It has a timing belt, hydraulic valve clearance adjustment, and runs well on LPG. Average petrol fuel consumption is around 8 liters 100 kilometers. Performance is average. It was used in numerous Renault models and was also installed in the earlier generation Megane. Some claim that the more powerful 110 horsepower variant is a Nissan engine, the less rated H4M, but this is not true. The Japanese unit produces 115 horsepower and was installed in other models, including the Dacia. The main area to focus on is the timing belt drive with the variable valve timing gear, which needs to be replaced regularly every 100,000 to 120,000 kilometers. The price of a replacement kit is around 1,000 euros. At the same time, the upper engine compartment should be sealed. The second very good petrol engine is the more powerful 2.0-liter turbocharged engine, although it's a relatively rare engine variant and the cars hold their value well. I've treated the TCE designation, which appeared a bit later, rather generally in this text, without any clear distinction, as there's no strict division between engines called turbo and TCE. It's purely a matter of nomenclature. Without exception, these are Renault F4R engines, known for their exceptional durability and reliability. This engine also performs well on gas. Average fuel consumption is around 9 liters per 100 kilometers, but with very good dynamics. This is the second engine that can be called a reliable performer. And at the same time, the car won't depreciate in value for some time. If dynamics are important to you, this is the engine for you. The rarest petrol engine is the naturally aspirated 2.0-liter engine paired with a CVT. This is the M4R engine with a timing chain. Hydraulic valve adjustment is no longer available, so installing LPG is not recommended. This is important because it's the most fuel-hungry engine relative to its performance, over 9 liters 100 kilometers. It's important to maintain regular oil changes and maintain good quality. The engine is durable, has a good timing drive, and is relatively trouble-free. The CVT transmission is a bigger problem. Even if you buy a car in good condition, it doesn't mean it will last more in the faults section. A distinctive feature of the 2.0 CVT model is its generous equipment, often featuring light-colored upholstery. It was often installed in the coupe and estate models. This version is intended for those who want a petrol Megane with an automatic transmission at any price. It's a better choice than the 1.2 with an automatic gearbox. The 1.2 TCE engine is a somewhat controversial choice, with opinions divided. It has a turbocharger and direct injection. The timing chain is driven, but it's no more durable than the belt in the 1.6. A complete replacement kit, including timing belt adjusters, costs around Euro 1,600 to 1,800. Oil consumption also needs to be considered, which plagued this engine, but not every example. The timing chain suffered primarily because of this, as many people ran the engine to a point where it ran out of oil. This was especially true for the chain, which was insufficiently lubricated. Since the problems only affected a limited number of units, not everyone will have a negative opinion of it. With such a wide selection, I don't recommend this engine, but I also don't advise against it. The final gasoline engine is the 1.4 TCE, which, contrary to appearances, isn't entirely related to the 1.2 TCE. The main difference between them is the fuel system. This one features multi-point indirect injection. It suffers from oil consumption issues, but this phenomenon is less frequent than the 1.2 TCE. It also has a timing chain, but it's more durable than the 1.2 and less expensive, around Euro 1,300 to 1,500 for the entire kit. Average fuel consumption is just under 8 liters per 100 kilometers, and dynamic performance is good. Installing an LPG system is a controversial topic, although many users are satisfied. In my opinion, this is the optimal engine for this car, and there are plenty of similar versions on the market, though there are fewer than the 1.2 TCE and significantly fewer than the 1.6 16V. However, it's not the best engine. If you're willing to accept lower dynamics, choose the 1.6 16 volts, and if you're looking for performance, go for the 2.0 TCE. It's also worth mentioning that almost all TCE engines have dual mass flywheels, which cost between 1,300 euros and 2,000 euros. This depends on the specific engine variant and the component manufacturer. They don't wear out excessively, but buying a car with more than 250,000 kilometers on the clock, you should consider the risk of failure. Which diesel to choose? The 4 diesel engines can be quite confusing, but the vast majority, over 70%, are 1.5 DCI units. They're a well-developed, refined design with a durable injection system, and with more frequent oil changes, the turbocharger and bearings are also easily serviced. This engine is almost always equipped with a dual-mass flywheel and DPF filter. The biggest advantage of the smallest diesel engine is fuel consumption, ranging from 5 to 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers regardless of version. For those looking for dynamic performance, I recommend the 100 plus HP variants, but other engines are especially appealing. The 90 horsepower engine is suitable for short distances, for city driving, but not necessarily for long journeys. Concerns about the durability of the injection system are justified, and the injectors themselves aren't cheap, but the 1.5 DCI is within the average price range for this type of engine. The same applies to other parts, such as the turbocharger, dual-mass flywheel, and other fuel system components. The timing belt is used for the drive, and a complete replacement set costs around 400 euros. Maintaining this engine is relatively inexpensive, as it's a well-known and popular unit on the market. The 1.6 DCI engine will be a bit less successful. While it enjoys a good reputation, its parts are significantly more expensive. For example, the timing chain, for which a complete set of replacement parts costs around 700 to 800 euros. This diesel has a more advanced exhaust aftertreatment system, so any faults in this area will cause errors. In rare cases, the cylinder head of this unit has cracked, caused by a clogged DPF filter. Fuel consumption with this engine is around 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers, but dynamics are significantly better than with the 1.5. Interestingly, this engine was designed to meet the Euro 6 standard, but Renault discontinued it shortly after it came into effect. It replaces the 1.9 DCI engine, which served in this model until 2012 and is considered very durable. It's also the cheapest to maintain. A timing belt replacement costs around 400 euros, although fuel consumption is slightly higher, around 6 liters per 100 kilometers, and its dynamics are on par with the smaller, more modern 1.6. The most prized diesel engine in the Megane is the 2.0 DCI. This engine's power, from 150 horsepower upwards, and its excellent automatic transmission are another plus. The French compact equipped with this engine is a real powerhouse, yet economical, around 6 liters per 100 kilometers, though rare. The more powerful 163 horsepower versions were offered as GT models. There are no major complaints about the engine, although a comprehensive article will undoubtedly be written about it soon. The timing chain drives the system. The parts cost around 800 euros. Sometimes, after higher mileage, the bearings can become slightly worn and need to be replaced. But this mainly happens in engines lubricated with incorrect or degraded oil. What goes wrong? I.e., typical faults. 5-speed manual transmissions are significantly less durable than 6-speed ones. After higher mileage, bearings can become noisy, and synchronizers can sometimes wear out. This is solely due to neglected oiling. However, in 6-speed transmissions, these components are much more durable and rarely require repairs. Another delicate transmission is the continuously variable transmission, CVT, fitted to the 2-liter naturally aspirated engine. Maintained with care, frequent oil changes, and without abuse, it will easily last over 200,000 kilometers. But if you want dynamic driving, this automatic isn't the way to go. Firstly, you'll quickly wear it out, and secondly, its performance is still comparable to the less powerful one, 1.6, and a manual gearbox. Repairs to the DCT gearboxes fitted to the 1.2 and 1.5 engines can potentially be a significant expense. These are Getrag transmissions with dry clutches, which are quite delicate in design. Replacing the clutch pack alone can cost around Euro 5,000 to 6,000 plus a dual-mass flywheel, which costs over 1,000 euros. And then there's the risk of the gear shift mechanism itself failing. It's not worth it. The only automatic transmission that's beyond any doubt is the one fitted to the 2.0 DCI engine. It's also important to remember to maintain it properly. While the engine has the potential to increase its power through chip tuning, the automatic transmission isn't entirely receptive to this. It's no surprise that the Renault Me suffers from both minor and more serious electrical faults. Ventilation fans and instrument panels, some digital, can fail, and owners may have to adjust to the digital fuel gauge. Many cars have had their tailgate brake lights replaced, and the rear lights may not work due to damage to the wiring in the rubber connector that connects the tailgate to the body. Leaks in the clutch control system can occur near the actuator, near the clutch pedal. This is the same hydraulic fluid used in the braking system. The onboard computer will indicate a low fluid level. This could be a warning light indicating a fault with the braking system, anti-lock brakes, or engine. It's not worth ignoring these leaks, and at least then it's worth checking the brake fluid level. The bodywork is generally well protected against corrosion, but its rigidity isn't exactly top-notch. Fleet cars often have cracked paint, especially on the roof, and torn-off doorstop mounting points. The sills, the only component poorly protected against corrosion, don't stand the test of time. The fender edges are also rusting due to abrasion from the plastic wheel arches. However, in older models, or those with higher mileage, spots appear on the bodywork. This is due to Renault's use of a thin layer of zinc plating, which is easily damaged, and underneath it lies the normally corroding sheet metal. Nevertheless, the Megane doesn't suffer from any serious problems in this area, especially in the chassis. Another body defect is clogged drains at the front, near the engine bulkhead. If they become completely clogged, water will leak into the cabin.